Okay, today I'm talking about KPI setup. All right, to set up the KPI, go to Add New tab and look for Modules and KPI Setup, or right-click, go to the Go To option. Under Analysis, you can select KPI Setup. Okay, this is the KPI setup. On the left here, you can see the KPI list of all KPI that we have built previously, right? And on the right here, you can see all the KPI details. All right, let me explain one by one. KPI list is all the existing KPI that we have built over here. While for KPI details, for each KPI that you have created, there will be a name, second name, definition, folder, selected to save. All right, I will focus just on a few key important ones. For example, KPI name, we want to select, we're going to create one KPI 1. All right. So the minimum to create a new KPI, we need to have a name and to select the folder. So in our case, we shall save it under test folder, and then we can add already. Of course, we need to select the subject area. All right. So subject area is mandatory. So for us, we can select, for example, order subject area, and then save the KPI. And we have our very first KPI, KPI 1. All right. So to edit the KPI, we select existing KPI, or we can type the KPI ID here. All right. And then click the search to find the KPI. All right. Of course, there is more to just this. For a basic KPI, we need to have at least a filter. All right. What you need to focus on is the query, the formula, value range, and also the test run. Test run will give you a test value of whatever you have selected in the filter. Okay, so for a very basic filter, KPI, you should select a filter. All right, you see this blank space here, double click on it, and you shall see the subject area or the dimensions for that subject area. For example, I want a KPI that is based on ship country equals to Brazil. Okay, so now this KPI is ship country equals to Brazil. So all the orders that is shipped to the country Brazil will be to display the KPI. So you can test run to see the figures 83. Right? You can even have measure like freight if you want. Right? This 83 is still the count. So if you selected freight, then the figure output in the KPI will be freight. Right? Click update to actually update the KPI. All right. You can even delete if you need to. That's all for a basic KPI. Next thing you need to learn is the formula. So for example, if you have two KPI, let's create another KPI. KPI 2. All right. So again, I select the folder and the test. And the subject area, I select again the orders. This time I select a different country, perhaps Argentina. All right. Test run, you can see 16 here. So now I have KPI 1 and KPI 2. Or let's rename it. This KPI Brazil. And KPI Argentina. Okay. This is how I change the name of the KPI, which you can do. All right, you can select this. All right, so now let's say I want a difference between Brazil, KPI that shows the difference between Brazil and Argentina. I click new for a new KPI. So for a KPI name, I'll call it difference between Brazil and Argentina. Right? So folder, select test again. So over here, this time, instead of using query tab, I will use formula tab. So what I do is I want to Brazil KPI minus the Argentina KPI. So what I can do is the script is like this. I type KPI, $ KPI, and then the ID of the Brazil KPI. One. So this one will refer to the KPI Brazil. All right. So I can use operators like plus, in this case minus the $ KPI, 10,002. Right. So this one basically tells me 10,001 is KPI Brazil, 10,002 is KPI Argentina. So basically the value from Brazil will minus the value from Argentina. The KPI Brazil's value will minus KPI Argentina's value. So I paste in. Let's go to test run to see what's the value. So for formula, you can see the value, but you can see this under label. All right. So now that we have created KPI, we can use it in our dashboard in label. So this is all how you create a KPI. Right. Let's move back to the dashboard to add. Right. To add it to a yes. All right. So for dashboard again, we'll need it board name and folder name. Okay. To use it, we can type it in here directly. $KPI 10,003, which refers to the third KPI that we have created. All right. Okay, then we save. You see, the difference is that. So what we can do also is we can duplicate this one. Duplicate one. This one we use 10,001. One, two, and save this. Okay. Now is, you see, this one minus this one. Of course, this for KPI one, we were showing freight value instead of the count. So what we do is you go to KPI setup again. You go to KPI setup. One, change this to count. Right now, let's go back to the dashboard earlier. Press KPI. You can see now 83 minus 16, you will get 67. This is how you use KPI in the dashboard and set up KPI. Thank you.